All right, so this is our global supply chain presentation. My name is Ryan Barrett. I'm a freshman finance major. And I'm taking this class to test my genetics to get into the business school, and it's part of my major. I'm also a little bit interested in the global supply chain and the effects that it can have and how a finance major can play its own roles. So let's dive in. Throughout the presentation, we're going to talk about the supply chain, the global supply chain, and the challenges that it currently has. So let's head in. So to start with the supply chain, and the textbook definition of a supply chain is a network of individuals and companies who are involved in creating a product and delivering it to the customer. So basically what a supply chain is, it's businesses throughout the world, throughout the country that work together to really bring a product to an individual. They'll transport raw materials from, let's say, um, Texas, and they'll transport that up to Michigan so that Michigan can create an iPod, or maybe they're collecting wood from Tennessee to go and create pencils in Nebraska. So it's just how products are delivered throughout the country. This is used throughout. They use a bunch of different materials to help this happen, a bunch of machines and processes like semi trucks, boats, planes, in order to deliver it across the country. And then this comes with a need for employees and money. So it is a thriving economy of its own, and it does come with a lot of pros and cons to it, with the different ways of travel and how ideas are transferred. So the supply chain pretty much acts as a web, and it connects locations across the world, and it is essential for any product to be created because not one location has every material that you need. You do not have the same materials in Michigan that you do in Texas or California versus New York. It's very different, which is why the supply chain is necessary. So as far as the global supply chain, it's that supply chain, but now it's bigger. It is way bigger. It connects countries across the globe, and it allows for products to be created in every country. So we might take some raw materials from Africa and use it to build a car here in the United States. Or we might use microchips from China in order to create iPods and phones here. Or we might use some oil from Russia to help fund and help with gas here. So it just collects materials from across the globe, and this even will transfer different culture ideas because with these companies coming together across the globe, different culture ideas are being connected as well. So let's dive into the crisis at hand. So what this graph is actually showing is the sectors and the percentages that have experienced like delays because of these issues that we're about to talk about. So the issues happening is a war in Ukraine, Red Sea crisis, and issues with canals. And what these issues are doing is it's causing that slower transportation, which is what this graph is showing. The higher the bar, the larger the delay that that area is having. So manufacturing is actually the far bar on the left, and that's the one with the largest amount of delays. And then another thing that these issues are causing is also higher costs because of fuel. So to start, we have the war in Ukraine. So this war is between Russia and Ukraine, and it leads to sanctions on Russia. So we aren't really working with Russia anymore, and we're trying to place sanctions on them as like a punishment for their actions. And we're also getting no exports from Ukraine. Ukraine was huge on the global chips, so they produced about 50% of them. And now with this war happening, we are having a large global chip shortage throughout the world. Also, with the sanctions on Russia, it's costing more to get oil, and oil prices are rising, which make fuel costs for public and corporate vehicles go up. So it's harder to transport goods across the nation using their shipping freighters and planes. It's also harder for citizens to get gas because gas prices are going to go up. Another issue is the Red Sea crisis. So with the Red Sea crisis, we have pirates attacking shipping freights in the Red Sea. So pirates have actually been attacking ships and stealing loot for years and years. It's been going on since the 1200s, if not before. However, modern day, it's the Houthis, which attack ships with missiles and drones. This is way more deadly, it's way more dangerous, and it involves with a lot of cost of lives and the products which are being transported. So this leads to higher fuel costs and longer transportation times because companies are having to redirect their ships to avoid any casualties and any issues with their transportation. The last major issue that we are experiencing is issues with the canals. So what's happening is these canals are receiving droughts. So there's droughts going on in the Panama Canal and other canals across the globe, which lead to lower water levels. So now the ships, they can't get through the canal, which not only leads to a backup, adding to that increased time, but some ships are also being redirected, which leads to higher costs and a longer time for transportation. So just some possible solutions. Amazon has started to make their own ships and containers, which cuts costs, and then other companies are finding separate routes around these conflicts to help protect their employees and protect their products as much as possible. So that might seem as just a small solution, but both of those go a long way. So in conclusion, in my opinion, companies are doing the best they can with the situation at hand. As I said, that those solutions are kind of bare minimum, but it's what you have to do. You have to protect your employees. You have to find ways to cut costs to make up for the fuel prices rising. You can't really control those until we are able to find a solution to the global crises at hand. So until we're able to do that, the only thing that we can do is find new routes and find ways to cut costs. So I think that cutting costs works the best because the resolutions are going to take longer. It's going to take longer to find those long-term resolutions. So finding ways to temporarily save money is going to help these companies in the long run. So these are just my references I use as part of my research. There's several different sources, but we don't have to dive into those. And with that being said, thank you for listening to my presentation on the global supply chain.